If there is chaos in a reading society, there is the seed of chaos in an ignorant society. Welcome to verse 28 of, of section 3 of chapter 10 of the Holy Quran. We're reading the last part of 28 when I had a warning my phone was heating up. Let's go. To those who joined gods with us, to your place, and those ye joined as partners, and those you joined as partners. مكانهم مكانكم أنتم وشركاؤكم. There shall, okay. To those, then shall we say to those who joined gods with us, ثم نقول للذين أشركوا مكانكم أنتم. To those who joined gods, into brackets with us, to those who joined gods, to those who joined God. مكانكم أنتم وشركاؤكم مكانكم أنكم وشركاؤكم. To your place, ye and those ye joined as partners. أنتم وشركاؤكم. فزينا بينهم. Ye shall separate them. فزيلنا بينهم. We shall separate them. شركاؤهم ما كنتم إيانا تعبدون. And their partners shall say, sorry, I didn't start it well. وَقَالَ شُرْكَاؤُهُمْ. And their partners shall say, مَا كُنْتُمْ إِيَّانَا تَعْبُدُونَ. Their idols would say, their partners will say, it was not us that ye worshipped. So there will not be conflict between the worshippers of the idols and the idols themselves. That day is when they will see power. Laylatul Qadr. You remember Laylatul Qadr, night of power. So this one is not night of power, but power of judgment. The partners shall say, it was not us that ye worshipped. Okay, let's go to 1418, the commentary. The false gods are not real. They are only the figments of imaginations of those who indulge in the false worship. Full stop. But the prophets or great or good men whose names were vainly taken on competition with the name of God and the personified ideas of idols treated in the same way with themselves protest against their names being used in that way, and show that the worship was paid not to them, and show that the worship was paid not to them, not to the idols, but to the ignorance or superstition or selfish lust of the false worshippers. All right, we now go to 29. فَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدٌ بيننا وبينكم إن كنا عن عبادة إن كنا إن عبادتكم لغافلين إن كنا عن عبادتكم لغافلين. Enough is God for a witness between us and you. بيننا وبينكم. Between us and you. We certainly knew nothing. We certainly knew nothing of your worship of us. So the idols will now abandon them. The false partners will now abandon them. We certainly knew nothing about your worship of us. And ibadatina lagafilun. That was verse 29. Let's see. And the commentary is 1419. 1419. See last note. See last note. They did not even know that they were being falsely worshipped in that way. Of course, they are right because they had no sense. They couldn't harm nor help. So they did not even know that they were being worshipped that way. And that's what has been explained here in 1418, which we've been referred to. So the partners on the day of judgment will tell, no, we don't even know that you worship us. You didn't worship us. See? Or you are not worshiping us. For one, yeah, that's what. Now we go to the last verse of section 3. هنالك تبلو كل نفس ما أسلفت. هنالك تبلو كل نفس ما أسلفت. There will every soul see the fruits. The fruits is in brackets, will see the deeds it sent before. ذلك تبلو كل نفس ما أسلفت. ورد 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 وردوا إلى الله مولاهم الحق. وردوا إلى الله مولاهم حقا. Every soul will see their deeds, the deeds it sent forth. They will be brought back to God, their rightful land, their rightful Lord. They will be brought back to God, their rightful Lord. Maulahum al-Haq, their rightful Lord. Wasalla, no, wadalla anhum ma kanu yaftaru. Wadalla anhum ma kanu yaftarun. And their invented falsehoods will leave them in the lurk. Or will leave them in the lurch. Lurch. And their invented falsehoods will leave them in the lurch. Commentary for it is 20 and 21. 1420. Chapter 2, 95. We are being referred to chapter 2, verse 95, where the verb used kadama, the verb aslafa, kadama full stop. The verse aslafa used here is nearly synonymous. So aslafa is like what is sent forward. Is nearly synonymous. Then 1421. Instead of their false ideas helping them, they will desert them and leave them in the lurch. So the false idols that they were worshipping on earth here, the day of judgment, they, the idols, will leave them in the lurch. Uh, that's all for section 3. Like I said before, there is still more time, so we'll begin section 4 and see how far we'll go. Uh, Kul man yarzukukum kun man yarzukukum minas samai wal ardi aman yamluku as asam'u man yamluku asam'u wal basra wa man yakhriju al haq min al mayt wa man yarju'u al hayy not hal al hayy min al mayt wa man yuriju al mayt min al haq wa man yudabbiru al amr. Several questions for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to say. And he says, say, who is it? Who is it that sustains you, into brackets, in life from the sky and from the earth? Or who is it that has power over hearing and sight? Uh, uh, hearing over hearing and sight. Sam'u wa basra. Sam'a wa basra, hearing and sight. And who is it that brings out the living from the dead? Man yuhriju al-hayy min al-mayt wa yuhriju al-mayt min al-hayy. Who brings is it that brings out living from dead and the dead, the living from the dead and the dead from the living? Like when it rains, everything on the ground is dead, and it brings it to life. And man also, he brings it to life, and he takes away the life of man. Yuhruju al-mayt min al-hayy waman yudabbiru al-amri waman yudabbiru al-amri. And who is it that rules and regulates all affairs? Who is it that rules and regulates all affairs? وَمَنْ يُدَبِّرُ الْأَمْرَ فَسَيَقُولُ اللَّهُ فَسَيَقُولُ اللَّهُ. And the dead from the living. Sorry. And who is it that rules and regulates the affairs? They will soon say, God. Yes, that day they will know God. When God asks them these questions, that day they will say, God. فَسَيَقُولُ اللَّهُ فَقُلْ أَفَلَا تَتَّقُونَ. They will say, God. Say, will ye not then show piety, into brackets, to him, to he, God? Will ye not then show piety to him, in brackets? To him in brackets, and him means God. So let's go to the commentary. Yeah, I think there are 3, 22 to 25, 4 even, 4. 22. 22. Sustenance may be understood in the sense of all the provision necessary for maintaining physical life, as well as mental and spiritual development, and all being, full stop. Examples of the former are light and rain from heaven and the produce of the earth, and facilities of movement on land and sea and in air. Examples of the latter The examples of the latter are moral and spiritual influences that come from our fellow men and from the great teachers and prophets. So the pattern, the substance are in two parts. One is physical, which we can see. The other one we cannot see. Mm. Then we go to 1, 4, 2, 3 of the same for the same verse. Mm. Just two of our ordinary faculties, just two of our ordinary faculties, hearing and sight, are mentioned as examples of the rest. All the gifts of God, physical and spiritual, are enjoyed and incorporated by us by means of the faculties and capacities with which He has endowed on us. Many think little. They hardly think that when you are planning something, it is He, God, who gives you the plan, the mental capacity to plan, evil or good. Mm. That's what this verse is saying. Great teachers and plans. Okay, 1, 2, 2, 3. No, 1, 2, 1, 4, 2, 3. That 1, 4, 2, 4. Now we are going to, and 1, 4, 2, 4. It asks us to go to chapter 3, verse 27, and note 271 of that same verse. Then chapter 6, verse 95, and note 920 to that verse 95. And then chapter 30, 19. Chapter 30, 19. That's 1, 4, 2, 4. Then we go to 1, 4, 2, 5. Rules and regulations all affairs. Al-Amr. Rules and regulations all affairs. فقل أفلا تفعلون الأمر ومن يدبر الأمر ومن يدبر الأمر. So let's go to the commentary for it. 1, 4, 2, 5. This is the general summing up of the argument. The government of the whole creation and its maintenance and sustenance is in the hands of God. Full stop. How futile then would it be to neglect his true worship and go after false gods? All right, and that's enough for verse 31. That's enough for verse 31. We now continue to verse 32. فَذَلِكُمْ اللَّهُ رَبُّكُمْ حَقٌّ فَذَلِكَ اللَّهُ رَبُّكُمْ الْحَقُّ فَذَلِكَ اللَّهُ رَبُّكُمْ الْحَقُّ. Such is God, your true Lord. After all these questions, that's what it's telling us. Such is God, your true Lord. فماذا بعد حق فماذا بعد حق إلا دلال فماذا بعد الحق إلا الدلال What remains but error? What remains apart from the truth? What remains but error? إلا الدلال فأني تصرفنا sorry فأنا تصرفنا. How then are you turned away? فَأَلَّا تُصْرَفُنَا. How then are ye turned away? 1, 4, 2, 6. The wonderful handiwork and wisdom of God, having been referred to as the real truth, as against the false worship and false gods and men set up, it follows that to disregard the truth must lead us into woeful wrong, not only in our beliefs, but in our conduct. We shall err and stray and be lost. Full stop. How then can ye turn? How then can we turn away from the truth? How then can we turn away from the truth? So now we go to verse 33. كذلك حكت كلمة ربك على الذين على الذ- على الذين فسقوا أنهم لا يؤمنون كذلك حكت كلمة ربك على الذين فسقوا أنهم لا يؤمنون. Thus is the word of the Lord proven true against those who rebel, فسقوا. Verily, they will not believe. أنهم لا يؤمنون. 1427. Disobedience to God brings its own terrible consequences on ourselves. The law, the word, the decree, of God must be fulfilled. If we go to false gods, our faith will be dimmed. Our faith will be dimmed and then extinguished. Our spiritual faculties will be dead. So the faith is made dim and then finally off. Our spiritual faculties will be dead. Okay, we go to 34, 44, Psalm 44, 34, verse 34. قل هل من شركائكم من يبدل من يبدأ الحلق ثم ثم يعيد ثم يعيده من يبدأ الحلقة ثم يعيده. Say of your partners, can any originate creation and repeat it? Can any originate creation and repeat it? قل الله يبدأ الحلقة ثم يعيده. Say, it is God who originates creation and repeats it, not any partner. ويعيده ثم يعيده. فأنا تؤفكون. فأنا تؤفكون. Then, how are ye deluded away from the truth? فأنا تؤفكون. How then are you deluded from the truth? 1428. The argument is now turned in another direction. The false gods can neither create out of nothing nor sustain the creative energy which maintains the world, nor can they give any guidance which can be of use for the future destiny of mankind. On the contrary, they themselves, into brackets, assuming they were men who were deified, brackets close, stand in need of such guidance. Full stop. Why then follow vain fancies instead of going to the source of all knowledge, truth, and guidance, and worship, and obey God, the one true God? The one true God. Yes, this reminds us of our side, our so-called scientific achievement like cloning, eh, gender trans, what do you call it, transgender and whatnot. They can't do it on their own. They have to use human cells that have been created by God. Mm. Even if they're not using human cells, but whatever material they are using is made by God. It's God's material. You see, so this explanation extends to that area. Mm. Transgender and whatnot, and cloning and whatnot. They are not the ones who create the cells that they remove to, change into other humans. Mm. They have to use human cells, God cells. Mm. Okay, the one true God. Just finish. 1, 2, 8. Oh, where is 1, 2, 8? All right. I'm finding it difficult to find 1, 4, 2, 8. Yes, I found it. 34, that's verse 34. We now go to verse 39. Then, kul, hal min shurakaikum man yahdi ila al-haq? Kul, hal min shurakaikum man yahdi ila al-haq? Kul, hal min shurakaikum man yahdi ila al-haq? Say, or your partners, is there any that can give any guidance towards truth? Then God is instructing Muhammad to say further, to say further, Kul Allahu yahdi, Kul Allahu yahdi lil haq, Kul Allahu yahdi ilal haqi, or lil haq, yahdu lil haqi or lil haq. Say, it is God who gives guidance towards truth. Ilal haq. Afaman yahdi ilal haq. Ahakun an yuttabi'a. Ahakun aman yuttabi'a. Aman la yahdi illa an yahdiya. Oh my God. Say it is God who gives guidance towards truth. Is then he who gives guidance to truth? Is then he who gives guidance to truth more worthy to be followed, or he who finds not guidance himself unless he is guided? Hmm? Uh, ah, an yatabi'u an atab- an yutabi'a an yutabi'a aman la yahdi illa an yuhdiya, who cannot guide but he himself is guided. Fama lakum kaifa tahkumun, fama lakum kaifa tahkumun, fama fama lakum kaifa tahkumun, guides himself unless he is guided. What then is the matter with you? How judge ye? What then is the matter with you? How judge ye? Kaifa tahkumun. So what is the matter with them, those who worship the partners? What is the matter with them, with you? Referring to the Shukara'u, those who worship the Shuraka'u. What's the matter with you? How judge you? Kaifa tahkumun. Let's go to, no, there's no commentary for it. I don't think so. No. Okay. We go to 36. We go to ayah 36. وما وما يتبع أكثرهم إلا زلا وما يتبع أكثرهم إلا zannan. Most of them follow nothing but conjecture. Zallan. وما يتبع أكثرهم إلا zanna. Most of them follow nothing but conjecture. Inna azanna inna azanna la yugni min al-haq shay'an. Conjecture can be of no avail against truth. Conjecture can be of no avail against truth. Min al-haq shay'an. Inna Allahu alimun bima yaf'alun. Verily, God is aware of all that ye did. Yes, and then with the invocation of God again. Again, no commentary. Let's go to 37. وما كان هذا القرآن وما كان هذا القرآن أن يفترى من دون الله. This Quran is not such as can be produced by other than God. دون الله. ولكن تصديق الذين بين يديه وتفصيل الكتاب لا ريب فيه من رب العالمين. On the contrary, it is a confirmation into brackets of revelation that went before it, and a fuller explanation of the book, wherein there is no doubt. La riba fihi min rabil alamin. La riba fihi min rabil alamin. From the Lord of the worlds. Min rabil alamin. From the Lord of the worlds. 1429. This book, the words this book, compare chapter 3 verse 23 and note 366. God's revelation throughout the ages is one. God's revelation throughout the ages is one. The Quran confirms, fulfills, completes, and further explains the one true revelation, which has been sent to the one true God in all ages. So after all the revelations that came to the Quran is now coming late to explain all that. Yes. That the fuller a confirmation of revelations that went before it, and a fuller explanation of the book wherein there is no doubt from the Lord of the worlds. So the Quran being the last is like all the prophets coming earlier, and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam coming as the last to represent all the prophets that came before him. So it goes with the books of Revelation, ending up with the Quran. Okay. Am yakuluna iftarahu, or do they say he forged it? Am yakuluna iftarahu. Kul fa'utu bisuratin mithlihi. Fa'utu bisuratin mithlihi. wa id'u min istat wa idku wa id'u man istata'tum min dunillahi in kuntum sadiqin. Or did they say he forged it? Say, bring then a surah like unto it, like unto it, mitluhu, and call to your aid anyone who can besides God, who can, besides God, it be, if it be he speak the truth. So nobody can produce anything like the Quran. Simple. It's not like the other books, New Testaments and whatnot, written by several people at different times, with conflicting ideas. No, nobody can reproduce this Quran as it is now. That's what that means. Okay, let's go to the commentary. The commentary is 1430. We've been uh, we've been referred to chapter 2, verse 23 and note 42. Viewers, you can go there and find out what is there. Okay, let's go to 39. Verse 39. Bal, bal, kazabu, bima lam yuhitu, kul kazabu, bima lam yuhitu, bi ilmihi, walamma yatihim tawilatun, tawilatun, walamma yatihim tawiluhu. Nay, they charge with falsehood. What? Sorry. Nay, they charge with falsehood that those that whose knowledge they cannot compass. Nay, they charge with falsehood that whose knowledge they cannot compass, even before the interpretation thereof have reached them. So they cannot understand the knowledge of the book, and they charge it with falsehood, Tawil, whom even before the interpretation of it, وَلَمَّا يَأْتِيهُمْ تَأْوِيلُهُ كَذَلِكَ كَذَّبَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ كَذَلِكَ كَذَّبَ مِنْ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ has reached them. Thus did those before them make charges of falsehood. So if anybody goes on internet and starts saying horrible things about the Quran and the prophets, the Quran is telling that people have done it before, long time before this era. And did they succeed? They didn't. And the present people cannot succeed. No matter how much you want to destroy God's word, which is the Quran, you can't. Those before you did it, and they couldn't. كذلك كذب الذين من قبلهم فانظروا فانظروا كيف كان عاقبة الظالمين. But see what was the end of those who did wrong. But see what was the end of those who did wrong. We go to the commentary 1432. 1432. Wrongdoers always came to grief ultimately. Wrongdoers always came to grief ultimately. The true course of history shows it from a broad standpoint. Full stop. But they are so headstrong that they prejudge issues in their ignorance before they are decided. Yes, they are reading the Quran. Before they get to the end, they judge already or either the church they they avoid what they read earlier before coming to the verse or the part that they think is of contention. Okay, before they are decided, and that is the end of uh, verse 29. Mhm. ومنهم من يؤمن به ومنهم من يؤمن به ومنهم من لا يؤمن به. Of them there are some who believe therein and some who do not. وربك أعلم بالمفسدين. وربك أعلم بمفسدين. And thy Lord knoweth best those who are out for mischief. That is the end of verse 40, which is also the end of section 4. When we come back, we're going to section 5 of the same surah, chapter 10 of the Holy Quran. Thank you very much for listening. May God be with you all. Illa liqa'i. Bye bye. Au revoir.